outrage over the death of Bolanle Raheem, a Lagos pregnant lawyer, is increasing by the day. But today, the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, met with the Inspector General of Police. There, he got commitment that there will be no cover-up in the investigation and prosecution of the culprits involved in the murder of the late lawyer, Mrs. Bolanle Raheem, who was killed on Christmas Day by a police officer. The governor said the outcome of the investigations of the case is very important to the government and people of Lagos State, stressing that the people deserve to know the process leading to justice for the victim. Take a listen to the governor and his host, the Inspector General of Police.
First is of course, to condemn the very unfortunate incident, to express, the grief of the government, the people and government of Lagos State, and to say how very unfortunate, and at this period in our time, to have an incident like this, whilst we ensure that nothing is left undone, no cover-up of any sort in this particular case, and that the full arm of the law is put in place to ensure that the officer that apprehended that he faced the court.
This incident will be investigated, and the Attorney General of Lagos State will be availed with the case diary for him to take over prosecution from the police. I assure you there is not going to be any hanky-panky on the issue. We are also saddened by this incident.
You heard both men, the IG, who you saw in uniform, and the governor of Lagos State, who came to meet the IG on that incident. Well, the Association of Nigerian Lawyers, that's the NBA, is very unhappy with the situation. This is not just only one of the death of many of, this is just one of the many deaths of the members of the legal profession. And some lawyers have pointed out in the past, especially someone like Professor Chidion Dikalo, that it does look like the legal profession is being targeted in some of the killings that we are seeing in the past 24 months in the country. And tonight, we'll be getting reaction from an official speech from the Nigerian Bar Association. The president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Mr. Yakubu Mekio, joins us live virtually from Kebbi. Thank you so much indeed, Mr. President, for joining us tonight. Let me first and foremost get the official response of the NBA on this matter.
Well, thank you very much, Sean, for having me this evening. Of course, for the Nigerian Bar Association, 2022 Christmas is everything but merry. There was no merriment for us as an association, of course, for the obvious incident of the killing of Bolanle Raheem on Christmas Day on her way from church. That killing, to say the least, is barbaric. That killing is wicked. That killing is callous and is evil. There was no justification whatsoever for the taking of the life of Bolanle in the manner that it happened. Of course, the only way that a person's life, a citizen's life, can be taken must be through the due process of law. That couldn't have been the due process of law. So the Nigerian Bar Association is really saddened. The Nigerian Bar Association is actually bleeding because of what has happened to Bolanle. And not only Bolanle, we've been dealing with issues of attacks on the lives of legal practitioners in the recent past. In fact, like you said, Professor Odinka Kalu made wrote something on that, and we all couldn't agree with him more, because it appears to us that the legal profession is under specific attack. And so we are all saddened about it. And let me use this opportunity perhaps to also extend the condolences of the Nigerian Bar Association. We've had our members from the branches in Lagos be with the family of the deceased. We've extended our condolences. I reached out to the family of the deceased. I've spoken with the sister of the deceased and the brother-in-law, and extended the condolences of the Nigerian Bar Association to the family of the deceased, and also to pray for the repose of the soul of our dear colleague, and for God to grant the entire family the fortitude to bear this loss and to wade through this challenging time. It's quite a traumatic experience for the husband, for the sister, and also for the children that were in the vehicle at the time this incident happened. They would have to grapple with this situation the rest of their lives, watching how their wives, their wife, their sister, and their mother and aunt was wasted by a trigger-happy policeman. It was quite a sad and unfortunate incident, and we must make sure that everything possible is done to deal with this issue decisively, to bring the culprit to justice. And not only this particular issue, what this issue has done for me is to remind us of our responsibility as members of the legal profession. And I have seen the sort of traction and the momentum that this has generated across the country, the involvement of the Attorney General and of course the Governor of Lagos State of this particular matter, the intervention by the President of the Federal Republic, and all other well-meaning Nigerians that have expressed their condemnation over the dastardly act.
Okay.
We must, it reminds us of our responsibility shown, and we must begin to react in this particular manner, not just for the life of Bolanle, but for the life of every Nigerian that is taken in this particular manner. So I want to call on every Nigerian that we must sustain this tempo. For us as members of the legal profession, we appreciate that it's our responsibility to come through for everyone that has been affected wrongly, and to try to bring remedy and reprieve for such a person.
All right.
But we shouldn't be selective in what we do, and I hope that this momentum would be sustained for every Nigerian that has come to suffer this sort of injustice.
So let's get it clear, because there was a statement from Senior Advocate Ebuade Borua earlier today stating that the NBA will be seeking 5 billion naira in compensation. But I guess that is also in conjunction with your office and the Ikeja branch, which the late Mrs. Bolanle Raheem belongs. But give us the official position of the national body of the NBA. Are you filing a civil suit in this matter, seeking the compensation? And we understand that you want to also join in the monitoring of the trial, which is the criminal aspect of the prosecution of this matter.
So let me say first and foremost that the Nigerian Bar Association is not leaving any options available to us at all. We are keeping all the options on the table. But first and foremost, apart from the local committee that was set up to begin engagement with the Commissioner of Police in Lagos State over this particular issue, I have also asked the first Vice President of the Nigerian Bar Association to be in Lagos. Already she has arrived in Lagos, and together with members of the branches in Lagos, and I'm talking about Lagos, Ikeja, Badagry, Ipe, and Ikorodu. Tomorrow, I was made to understand by this committee that a postmortem of the deceased would be carried out. They would be there, first and foremost, to be a part of that process, and also visit the family of the deceased to condole with them. I have also assigned Titilola Akinlawon, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, to head a committee of the Nigerian Bar Association that would interface with the office of the Attorney General of Lagos State with respect to the prosecution of the culprit in this particular case, and also with the police in the course of the investigation. This is to make sure that no stone is left unturned. And the idea of sweeping anything under the carpet will never arise, not under our watch. And the commitment we are given is that we will continue to do this, not only for Bolanle, but for every other Nigerian whose wrong has come to our own attention. We would do that because it's a responsibility that we have to discharge as members of the legal profession. So yes, we are taking steps to follow this matter through to its logical conclusion. We've set up a committee to interface with the Attorney General's Office of Lagos State and also the police with respect to this matter. And all the options available to the family would be exhausted, and as much as possible, as much as the law permits the Nigerian Bar Association to participate in this process, we are going to do so.
All right. So, I mean, we understand that the Police Service Commission has, given the approval for the suspension of Mr. Vandy, the police officer involved in this matter. But there are those lawyers who are of the opinion that the position of the Nigerian police under the law is wrong, that they could do more. For the Nigerian Bar Association, do you agree with the position of the Nigerian Police Force as an association in the manner in which they have acted? Do you think they could have done more? Are you satisfied with the manner in which the Office of the IG had treated this matter?
Well, let me tell you, Sheon, we have some suspicion about how this matter is being handled right now by the police. I listened to the first public relations officer yesterday when he was at your program, and he talked about certain processes that have to be followed before the investigation will commence and all of that. I do not agree with that, because that does not represent the position of the law. Of course, if you look at the provisions of the Police Act 2020, if you read Section 96 of that Act and also Section 103 of that Act, it is very clear that once a police officer is accused of having committed a particular crime, and in this particular case, the suspicion is that of murder, there is nothing that can be interpreted in that Act as not allowing for the prosecution of that police officer, or subjecting the prosecution or investigation of that police officer to certain internal mechanisms of the Nigerian police. Of course, I do not agree that the Nigerian public would have to wait for this police officer to go through the internal procedure or mechanisms of the Nigerian police to first dismiss the officer before he can be investigated and prosecuted. I don't agree, and I see some lackadaisical attitude in that respect. And if that is what they are doing or they are saying, it creates a lot of suspicion in our minds. And I say this because once you allow time in this manner to pass, then so many things can happen. And don't forget, already there is this story that is making round about the possible involvement of this same person who is alleged to have taken the life of Bolanle, his involvement in also the killing of a customs officer, sometimes in mid-90s, somewhere in Mina, and the trial of that particular person was frustrated, was aborted. We don't know what happened, but the person who is volunteering.
Well, it seems that there seems to be some freezing of a connection with the learners sick there. The Nigerian Bar Association president, senior advocate Yakubu Chinoko Mekiao, speaking to us on the scenarios surrounding the death of the Lagos lawyer, Mrs. Bolanle Raheem, where the governor of Lagos State met with the Inspector General of Police, and he's been responding to some of the scenarios that have played out since that time. but just in 30 seconds, if we can wrap up quickly. It's good to see you back on the line. So my question is whether or not that proverb has happened to us as a people, and perhaps this scenario is making a fool of us as a people. Have we learned anything, any wisdom coming out of this? The 5-point demands by the young people asking that Nigerian authorities should take drastic action so that the innocent lives will not be lost from the hands of trigger-happy police officers. Where do we go from here? Under your watch, Mr. Mekiao, can you make promise to Nigerians that the legal profession will fight this out? Oh dear, we've tried.